Krabat is a German fantasy movie from 2008 by Marco Kreuzpaintner, based on the same-named 1971 Ottfried Preußler novel based on the same-named Sorbian folktale. It made with an 8 million euro budget, 9 million just in Germany, receiving mostly positive feedback. It is already the second live-action version of the story.
Weißt du noch, wie's war? Kinderzeit, wunderbar. Die Welt ist bunt und schön. Bis du irgendwann begreifst, dass nicht jeder Abschied heißt, es gibt auch ein Wiedersehen.
In 1975, Celino Bleiweiß filmed the legend for East German television as The Black Mill, based on Yuri Berzan's same-named 1968 book. Here the orphan boy Krabat wanders into captivity of a tyrannical black miller, an evil sorcerer, who rules his area with an iron fist. From now on, he must work with 6 other servants, among them Marcus, with whom he befriends, in the black mill to win gold for the master. To prevent them from escaping, the miller turns them into ravens overnight. Also that their mothers can't recognize them, as he would be then forced to release them. Marcus' mother manages to free her son and Krabat with a trick. He steals the book of knowledge and 2 magic bands with which they can transform themselves and others into animals from the tyrant, who swears eternal revenge, and the two begin their fight against the magical oppressor.
Immer vorwärts, Schritt um Schritt, es geht kein Weg zurück. Was jetzt ist, wird nie mehr ungeschehen.
The interesting fairy tale, with scenes that are at times almost surrealistic, largely sticks to its source material, but differs in some places. In the more detailed novel, which takes on almost epic proportions as it unfolds, playing during the war against the Turks, there are not 7 but 12 servants. There is also no character named Jan and his fiancée Mirka, and therefore no abduction, and some events unfold differently, such as the death of Marcus. The miller transforms him in the book into a bird, which Krabat mistakenly confuses with the miller, transforming him back, causing him to crash, and not, as in the movie, into a wolf, which he also unknowingly shoots. The same author also wrote in 1976 and 1993 2 other Krabat books, which set the story in the present day.
Die Zeit läuft uns davon, was getan ist, ist getan. Was jetzt ist, wird nie mehr so geschehen.
Karel Siemans' Krabat was made in 1977, based on Preußler's book. Krabat, a beggar boy in the early 18th century Lusatia, is tricked into becoming an apprentice to an evil one-eyed sorcerer. Together with 11 other boys, he works under slave-like conditions in the sorcerer's mill. There he learns black magic, such as how to transform into an animal, to use their magical powers to cheat the people out of their money, which they bring to their master. This one has made a pact with death, who spares him every year in exchange for the death of another. To this end, at the turn of each year, one of the boys, usually the most capable, must face the master in a magical deadly duel. The boy has no chance, as only the master is allowed to use the Corrector, his secret book of spells. During an Easter ritual, Krabat meets the young Kantorka, which means lead singer, from the village and falls in love with her. However, he must keep the romance secret to protect her. He discovers that the apparently retarded apprentice Juro is not as stupid as he pretends to be. Night after night, the two sneak into the Black Chamber as mice and secretly read from the Corrector themselves in order to gain the upper hand over the master.
Ein Wort zu viel im Zorn gesagt, ein Schritt zu weit nach vorn gewagt. Schon ist es vorbei.
The unusual Czech-German flat-figure animation film reproduces the extensive source material, which, like the film, spans 3 years quite well. However, it omits some subplots/characters, such as the wizard Pumphead, and therefore also his duel with the master. But it does show the master's duels with the boys. They are not described in the original, and changes some sequences, such as the battle against the Turks. In the original, the master's memory, which reminds strongly on events from the Black Mill book, and the secret love meetings also take place somewhat differently. There, Krabat leaves his body and appears to her in a dream.
Was auch immer jetzt getan, was ich gesagt hab, ist gesagt. Und was wie ewig schien, ist schon Vergangenheit. Immer vorwärts, Schritt um Schritt.
For me, the animated classic is, alongside the book, the best version of the story. And similar to Fantastic Planet, Plague Dogs or Feliday, it is one of those very rare, highly recommendable, sophisticated animated movies. An absolute insider-Tipp.
Was jetzt ist, wird nie mehr so geschehen. Ach, und könnte ich doch nur ein einziges Mal die Uhren rückwärts drehen. Denn wie viel von dem, was ich heute weiß, hätte ich lieber nie gesehen.
The live-action film retells the story but moves the plot further back to the middle of the 17th century and combines the second and third years. As a result, other supporting characters and storylines are missing, like in the second year Whitco as the new apprentice and Mikhail's death at its end. But we see only once and then never again the leaving of the body during the ritual. Here the time with Tonda, the senior apprentice who dies at the end of the first year, is emphasized more strongly. His story with his secret girlfriend Vorshula is told in full. In the book it is only mentioned in retrospect. And there are also some differences from the original in the final. As in the book, Juro tells Krabat that his girlfriend must ask the master on New Year's Eve to set him free. When Kantorka appears, she must recognize him along all the boys, whom the master has turned into ravens. In the book, Juro and Krabat prepare themselves exactly for this test, but the master does not turn them into ravens as expected, but instead blindfolds the girl. She senses him passing the test, the spell is broken and the master dies as the mill goes up in flames.
Dein Leben dreht sich nur im Kreis, so voll von weggeworfener Zeit. Und deine Träume schiebst du endlos vor dir her. Du willst noch leben irgendwann, doch wenn nicht heute, wann denn dann? Denn irgendwann ist auch ein Traum zu lange her.
Krabat is well cast and quite entertaining, but in my opinion it fails to do justice to the very complex source material. Shortening the plot to 2 years is disastrous for the pace and makes the events in the second year seem hectic and rushed. It unnecessarily changes the characters, also as a result of this, pulls a lot out of thin air and leaves out too much explanatory material despite a significantly longer runtime of 2 hours, such as the folk tales scattered throughout. And in my opinion can't hold a candle to its animated, much more intelligently told predecessor, which only runs 72 minutes.
Immer vorwärts, Schritt um Schritt, es geht kein Weg zurück. Was jetzt ist, wird nie mehr ungeschehen. Die Zeit läuft uns davon, was getan ist, ist getan. Was jetzt ist, wird nie